next speaker is the president of the Las Vegas chapter of Iraq Veterans Against the War. United States Marine Corps, 4 years, 3 tours, all in Iraq. Chris?
Thank you for having me here today, Wendy. Thank you all for showing up and supporting this very important testimonies that are being presented today. My unit was 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines. I joined the Marine Corps prior to 9/11 out of patriotism and love for my country. I was a part of the invasion force and 2 tours following that. While sitting around in Kuwait in early 2003, we were told to write a final letter to our families and put it on the bottom of our sea bags that were to be left behind and then sent to your family if you died in Iraq. This is a picture of the letter I wrote. Many of the troops, including myself, were sent into Iraq with inadequate armor. I drove a Hummer into Iraq that had only a plastic canvas for protection while I was driving directly behind armored troop carriers. I was not issued ballistic plates for my flak jacket. All of the battalion's officers were issued ballistic plates along with the line companies. But to the government, I was expendable and did not rate to have such life-saving personal protection. I vividly remember one night, after being up for nearly 5 days straight, I was on a close perimeter roving post outside the Command Operations Center when artillery rounds started landing. The next day, I found out it was friendly fire, and these rounds were landing only a few hundred yards away, which if you've ever been around and had a 120 millimeter round land near you, it's pretty insane. It made me realize how close I had come to death, and it made me angry that I didn't have ballistic plates. After my unit had taken Baghdad and helped pull the statue of Saddam Hussein down, there was a short-lived celebration. This brings me to my next issue of where official Defense Department story meets with the true reality on the ground. On April 14, 2003, Corporal Jason Milio of India Company, 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines, was murdered by a force recon sniper. Corporal Milio had apparently taken off his helmet and was smoking a cigarette at night with his rifle next to him and was mistaken for an insurgent. I had been providing security at night along with several others of my platoon on that roof. For several nights prior to force recon relieving us, and I had not noticed anything significant to report during that time. There was nothing out there, I hadn't seen anything. And as soon as force recon had taken over, I was hearing shots coming from the roof constantly, and it made me wonder, what the hell were they shooting at? Then the night of April 14, 2003, my company gunnery sergeant had come up on the roof and was raising hell. That's when I found out one of the Marines from India Company had been shot by the cowboys from Force Recon. On my 3rd tour, I had been on the government-issued computer one night and found the investigation case file for the incident on a military web server. The report went on to say that the platoon commander and the sergeant had been derelict in their duty. They failed to do proper routine patrol overlay and negated to send in a position report to let the battalion know where they were at. To my knowledge, no one was reprimanded and some were later promoted. The Defense Department stated that he died from hostile friendly fire and that the incident was under investigation. It's a shocking reminder to everybody about the truth and what really goes on down there compared to what the government's telling you at home. Force Recon and their cowboy ways proved deadly for my unit once again. April 7, 2005, Lance Corporal Juan Venegas, who was one of the snipers in my unit, was on a mission in Fallujah. He was in a hide when a patrol of Force Recon Marines drove up in their Hummers and had mistaken him for an insurgent. running him over with their vehicles. The official story released by the Defense Department stated that he was involved in a hostile vehicle accident that was under investigation. I don't know about you, but I've never heard of a hostile vehicle accident before. It's a shame that a young man, through my research, he wanted to become a boxer. And too many lives have been lost that you can't take that away from these guys. They're young men that want to serve their country, and these stories just, it got to me. And I'm going to go back to my second tour in Iraq. I was stationed at a dam in Haditha. Things were completely different from my first tour. I had seen the presence of contractors doing military jobs such as cooks, truck drivers, and security mercenaries like Blackwater. They were doing these jobs and getting paid 5 times more than I was. At the dam, Marines were providing security for the dam along with Azerbaijani soldiers who were poorly trained and equipped. They were very trigger happy and shot at and sometimes killed fishermen who got too close to the dam. During that tour, it was the first time I had noticed the change in the demeanor that the Iraqis had towards us. During the invasion, the streets of Baghdad were filled with people cheering, "Bush good, Saddam bad." In 2004, the Iraqis would hold protests in the town of Haditha against the occupation. Typical response for this was to have fighter jets fly over the crowd and scare them away. So much for winning the hearts and the minds of the Iraqi people we were supposed to be doing. In January of 2005, I was stationed in Fallujah, about 300 yards from the bridge where the Blackwater contractors' bodies were hung in April 2004. We were relieving a Marine infantry unit that had fought during the heavy fighting in the city, carrying out Operation Phantom Fury. I was the radio operator for an 81mm mortar platoon, and our task was to run a checkpoint outside Fallujah, making sure that no insurgents returned to Fallujah. During the transition, I met a few young Marines who were reservists from an artillery unit, that it was their job to clean up all the dead bodies of the insurgents and the foreign fighters after the operation was finished. They had taken all the dead enemy to a place we called the Potato Factory, where the bodies were stripped and checked for identification by CIA agents. So after we got the checkpoint up and running smoothly, the Marines from my platoon were given jobs such as issuing identification to everyone, re-entering the city by retinal scanning them, and giving them a badge they had to show to get back into the city they were forced from. After they were retinal scanned with the biometric system known as BATS, they had to pass in front of the backscatter van that was supposed to scan for heat variations to see if someone was carrying a weapon. This piece of equipment that probably cost more than most Americans' homes didn't work too well in the heat. If the government hasn't noticed, Iraq is in a desert, and it's hot most of the year. Now, if you look at this picture behind me, you can see that it's wintertime. There are no leaves on the tree. Of course it's going to work when it's cold out. The Iraqis were herded like cattle through the checkpoint as if they were animals. If any Iraqis voiced their opinion for the way they were being treated, the Iraqi police we had at our checkpoint would handle the situation by harassing and assaulting them. Looking back on my third tour, it seems Orwellian to me, with the CIA involvement and all that expensive Big Brother-esque type of equipment and technology being used to enslave the Iraqis in their own country. I still love my country, and I feel that the most patriotic thing we can do is to let the world know that U.S. imperialism is wrong. And I finished today by saying something that I've heard a million times and I've said myself. You can't bring democracy through the barrel of a gun.